Today I wanted to learn something. We are gonna be developing an application. We are gonna be deploying the application using automation. We are gonna be gathering the requirements of the application. We are gonna learn about the roles associated with working on the application. We are gonna learn what do the front-end developer do, what do the back-end developer do, what do the full-stack developer do, what do a Devops engineer do, what do a project manager do, and what does the software architect do. So I will not speak about and explain what these different roles are. Instead, I will show it with a practical example. So imagine this: a customer comes in and they have a request for an application. Hi, I would like an application that can help me to share secrets. Okay, sharing secrets. It's a fairly simple application, I would say. Why don't you just send an SMS? No, it has to be secret. If I send an SMS, maybe someone can intercept it, or it will be saved on the phone, whatever. It has to be something you only see once. Okay, makes sense. I actually have one question more. How many users will be using the application? It will just be I don't know, me and some few friends. Okay, that means I don't have to think about scaling. Great. So I will make a draft application and show that to the user. So let's see here. I already made it. It's here. And I have it a little bit better here. Here. So what you see is there is a form for inputting the secret. The user will come, type the secret here. Then the user will press share. Sharing saves the secret. Then there will be shown a message to the user. Your secret is stored. Share the link below to share your secret. And there is a URL. Then this, the user can then copy paste this and share. Opening that URL, there will be this screen. The following secret are shared. Notice you can see this only once. Remember to copy it somewhere safe. The secret is here. Now I will ask the customer, what do you think about this? It's exactly like that. Exactly. So that will be the first part, understanding the requirements, elaborating on the requirements. In this part we are working as a project manager. It could also be a front-end developer that could help, or a graphical artist that could help on defining these mock-ups. So the next thing is I will create a diagram, a software design for how the software is going to work internally. And what you see here is just two classes. One class for abstracting the saving of the secrets, and one class for representing functionality that the user needs to interact with, so to say the API. And so the user can enter a secret. That will be when they see the screen. They can store the secret, then when they press the button they can show that it's successful. That's the confirmation form that comes, and then they can view the secret. And in this secrets repo they can store the secret and they can retrieve the secret. And then there is something about a string that is input. That will be the secret that they want to store. And there is a grid return, which is a unique identifier. There needs to be something uniquely to identify the secret, which will be part of the URL, and then they can retrieve the secret. So if we're talking about the role here, it will be either the full stack developer, or it will be the software architect. So yeah, that's the first part of it. With this in place, we can actually start developing the application. But before we start developing the application, I will talk a little bit about some prerequisites. I could develop this application very fast, and I could copy it to a machine manually, and bam, it would be running. I could probably do this in one day, writing the application, manually copying it. no problem. But what I want to show you is the full process as how it should be in a professional company, in a professional setup. So that means you're gonna add on top of the development, you're gonna add tests, you're gonna add automated deployment. These are very important for the business, because if you have a business and the automation procedure is not set up correctly, then there will be a risk that the knowledge of putting your application online will be with one engineer. And you can imagine what happens when this engineer leaves. Or even if they're there, there will be... There are a lot of problems, but I want to show it the right way today. So with testing and with automated deployment. So I'm gonna use GitHub Actions. I'm gonna use some technology that's available for everyone, but I'm not really an expert in any of them. So I will use Python for writing the code. Usually I'm a .NET developer, and I will use GitHub Action for the deployment. Usually I use TeamCity. Then I will use Digital Ocean to deploy to, and normally I'm working in Asia, so all of these things are a little bit outside, what should I say, my super expertise, but it doesn't matter, because if you know the technology, you will more or less be able to move from one stack to another. Yeah, that's how it is. So all of this with automation and configuring the build server, maybe also setting up the cloud application, spinning up the virtual machine, setting up the infrastructure, configuring the network, etc. That will be a Devops engineer that will usually be doing this. So let's look at the coding. It's quite late. I should probably not be doing this at this time, but I'm gonna do it. And I think it will be I think they're gonna be very cozy, be relaxing, having some fun with some development. So yeah, let's get started. Let's see how I'll do it. So the first thing is I've created a skeleton. I've created a skeleton with all the files. I have just this standard Python stuff. So there is something with the code, secret controller, secret repo, Docker file, test repo, and I want to do this with a methodology called testdriven. The idea is you write the unit test first. I will not explain a lot about it, but you see now I do the first test, which will be a test of the secret repo, and I'm gonna test both the store and Git. And usually it's best practice to keep it separate, but it's a little bit difficult in this, because the store doesn't return anything. Anyway, I'm testing both here at once. So you can see I've made a test called test repo store and get secret, and then I have made a secret called hello from test, and I'm checking that I will get the secret ID. After I'm storing the secret, and I'm testing that I will retrieve the secret from that secret ID. So that should give the same value. Now, running the test fails because I haven't actually made the code yet. That's one of the that's one of the ideas with test-driven. It is that you make the test first, and then when you have made the test and they fail, then you make the code. Or you fix it. So you can see now I'm making the store, and to begin with I will just return this unique identifier, and I'm making the retrieve. And I'm cheating a little bit here. I will just give the value I know my test expects. And I wouldn't even call it cheating. It's how should I say? I think it's quite good to do, and it's also fun. And later on, this will of course only work for this one stupid test. I'm gonna make more tests, and then I will implement it with real code. But now I have made the test, and yeah, let's see. I'm trying to run the test. I'm running them on my normal workstation, which is not the best thing to do. So the best thing would be to run it on Docker, and I will convert to Docker later. But here now, to begin with, I'm So to begin with, I'm running it directly on my machine. So right now I'm getting some errors. You see, I'm trying to run the test, and I get. Yeah, okay, I managed to get the test running, so now I will define the next test. So I will test in the repo, cannot retrieve non-stored secrets. And how I do it, I will say I would like that if I try to receive a none, I will get a missing secret exception. You see, by writing the unit test first, I can use a vocabulary. I can use a vocabulary of how I would like my code to communicate. So this is one of the most important things. So this is the development. Who would be working on this task? It could be a backend engineer, or it could be a full stack. So we are backend and full stack. I would say all of what we have done for now would be backend and full stack. Maybe the Devops engineer could help with the setup to begin with of the machines, or operations. IT guys, they could also help with setting up some of this stuff. But mostly I would say this is full stack and backend developers. So let's see, now I'm defining the store function, and now I actually want to put in the real meat, because anyway the retrieve have to throw an exception if the secret is not there. So I'm saying I made this file name from unique ID because I opted not to use a database, and then I will just use this one function to get the secrets. You can already see now I'm in a bit of a pain working on my workstation, because I have to make this folder directly on my index. This I will take care of this when I'm switching to Docker. Secret ID that I had, it was not the value, it was the function. So I need to get the value, and then I will convert it to a string. And I also need to open the file. So see, I got two errors here. But the cool thing about this again is that I will be able to write basically all the meat of the application just using unit tests. It's a very fast way to develop the application, and it's a fast way to keep making sure that it looks nice. So let's see, now I've made the missing secret exception. So I have the store now I'm writing the retrieve. I recorded the video with the development first, because it would be too much to do while I'm commenting on it, or it would take too long time. So I'm doing the retrieve, and first I get my file name with this file name from unique ID, so I don't really have to worry about that anymore. I just know that from the unique ID, I can get a file name. It's the same I use to save it. And then you see if the file is there, I will return the content. So I open it and I read it. Still battling a little bit with the syntax. So I didn't even know what modules were in but apparently a module is a Python way of saying a file. So if you meet module and you don't know what it is in Python, you can think of it, it's a file. It is a file. But what you're doing as a developer, what I'm doing as a developer, I'm defining everything that it should do. So let's say the next, I think actually the test ran that I got. There's no such secret if the file was not there. Actually no. I'm just on to the next text. So now I'm defining a test, making sure that I can only receive the secret once. So you can see the test, I will make a test. I will make many tests, but I will for sure make tests that covers the customer's requirement. And if you recall, one of the requirements was that the secrets could only be retrieved once. So now I'm making one here. First I'm saving the secret, which I have tested in a lot of method works. Then I'm retrieving it, which I have also tested at work. And then I'm asserting that if I try to retrieve it again, I will get this missing secret exception. And this is the thing I was battling with. Code is unreadable. I ran the unit test and it didn't work, but I was using if exit. And if you're using a compiled language or type strong language, I would not be able to make such an error. Yeah, now I'm just commenting in the code. I had to comment it out because I was battling with it. And now again, similar mistake. I missed an S. So let's see. Now I'm trying to run it again. Oh, now it doesn't know about my missing secret exception. But I will add it, no problem. I will see what should be done. I fixed this, but now I didn't get the missing secret exception, and that's because I didn't delete it. So now I will make sure that the retrieve also deletes the secret. And notice that I'm trying to write my code in such a way that it's very expressive. So I have a method just called delete secret that gets the secret ID. And then it will just call this os remove and with this file name from unique ID. And I could of course have written this one line of code in the retrieve, but it wouldn't really express the intent. You see, I will actually do the same with this testing if the secret exists, because I want to express the intent. Before I make any modification, of course I'll run the test. You see the test was executed. So now I'll define this if secret exists function, and I will make the retrieve even more readable. So this is if you are I wouldn't say a good programmer, I would say if you are nice to your colleagues, you will try to write code that is readable. So you see this function now is changed, so it says if secrets exist, then it will open this file, and I will use this file name from unique ID again. So see, it's very readable. I retrieve the secret. If it exists, then I open it and then I delete the secret. I will rearrange a little bit so I think it's more readable by this. Now you can see I have a lot of secrets on my storage, so I will clean it up, but this is of course a problem in the application. Now the secrets will be deleted when you read them but I guess in the real world there would need to be something to delete them. Now you can see, as I said, it's running on my machine, and it will be a pain to set it up again. So you can see I make a small comment about it here. It's also quite good to do that. So you can see the manual setup to get this up and running would be to install Python, to configure the Python path. I need to run all these commands, and then to create the folder and to give write access to it. I've just saved my code in the version control. For now, we have only been working as a backend or full stack developer. Anyway, now you can see my code is committed. It's nice. There is a comment on it. It's here in GitHub. You're welcome to have a look. But the next thing I will do is to get rid of this terrible manual step. So I created a Docker file, and to start with, I will set it up so it just runs the test when I run it. So now with this Docker, I will be able to automate all these terrible things like installing Python, making sure it's the right version, setting up the environment, making sure there is the folder that I need write access to. So all of this will be configured inside this Docker container. So the Docker is really a small virtual machine, just super lightweight. I will not get into any details. This could very well be the word for a DevOps engineer. So if you want to do DevOps, you will definitely be working with stuff like this. Again, it can also be a full stack engineer, or it could be a backend engineer, or IT operations maybe. I think it would not be called operations when you go into this. You would rather call it this DevOps. So you can see now I'm defining all these what before was manual steps. I'm now defining them in this Docker file, making it automated. So now you can see instead of this manual, you can just run the Docker image with one command. There are two commands. So one to build the image and another to run it. Like I was saying. So this would be the work of a DevOps. So I would say I use less time on DevOps for now on this project. But the DevOps engineer or the DevOps work, this automation will really enable much more efficient coding, much more efficient delivery. Because now you can check this out, and you can download Docker, and you can run it. You still need to download Docker, but that's it. Now I just want to see how does it fail if Docker is failing. And I managed to get it failing. So now I had a quick look at the design and see what is the next that I need to do, and that is defining the controller. So I'm right now I'm changing from the built-in Python unit tests to PyTest, and I'm also starting to import the libraries that I need to make a web application. So I'm using something called Flask, and again I will not explain a lot about the functionality. It's I mean, if you're interested, I could do another video about that. So yeah, let me know if there are some of these things you would like to know some more details about. So again, now I'm just updating the Docker file to install the new necessary libraries. And if I was not using Docker, the developers would need to run more command. I think actually all these pip commands can be stored in a special file, and then it's quite easy to install them, but it's still one step more if you're not using Docker. So now I am adding the PyTest. Anyway, you can see me, I'm monkeying a little bit around here, so I'm not sure if this would be DevOps. I think this would not be DevOps, but this would be backend or full stack developer. And then when the full stack or when the developers would know what libraries are needed, then they could speak to DevOps. But to be honest, I think it's nice to be able to do everything. Okay, so I've entered the secret now. I have actually made the secret HTML here very quickly. I made it, so you can see I've made it similar to what was on the original software specification, the software design. And I will just save it to the version control. So it's a very good idea to save whenever you have some good milestones. Now I got an error which made a lot of sense because I didn't make the next route. I didn't make the callback for the save button. So the only thing I made now was hey, you can enter the secret here. And then when I press save, it said, I don't know what you're talking about. What is you want to save, but I don't know what it means to save. So now I'm defining that when there is a save, and you can see I use the post keyword, which again I will not go into these details. It would be a different videos. And by the way, there are a lot of videos that goes into these details. So you can look at Flask, or you can look at basically anything web development related. By the way, the HTML page, that could also be a front-end development. So right now I don't put any layout in it, so I think for a front-end developer it would be a little bit boring. But let's see. Now I've made the save secret, and you can see I've taken, maybe you cannot see it, but I have taken quite good care to make it very, very readable. So it's when I save, it will redirect to the confirmation page, and it will forward the ID of the secret that it get from the repo store. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of very powerful. Very powerful. So I like to write the code like this. And now I'm making the confirm secret save. You can see I have already in the previous one I requested so when I save the secret, I want to be redirected to the confirm secret saved, and now I'm making that method so the application will know when to confirm the secret save. It should go here. Then it should render a template, which is this Flask thingy for helping me with writing the HTML. And I will use this confirm secret saved HTML, and I will give it a URL for the saved secret. It's really a lot going on here. I have been developing for a lot of years. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lot going on here. So let's see what's the next. I forgot to add the route, so I've just added it now, and you can see I would like it set saved, and then it has the secret ID, and now I'm specifying that it must be a GUID or UUID. I don't know why they call it that in Python. yeah, I don't know. Microsoft called it a GUID. I think most other call it a GUID. But what's happened when you press confirm save is it will render the template for the confirm secret save, and then it will make it possible for you to show this secret sharing URL. And you can see I passed that into the template as the secret URL by calling URL for viewing the secret. So that will be the URL. I also specify external because it has to work in an email. Otherwise it will be a relatives path and it wouldn't work. But again, it's some details that are, yeah, maybe not the most important right now. You can see I'm now defining the route for viewing the secret. And again, this is this work will be backend developer or full stack developer. So you can see all the functionality of the application is the full stack and backend developer. So the DevOps, if it's another person, you know, the when you do the DevOps work, you automate. So you automate all the things around the applications. But let's see now. I have defined the view secret. It gets the secret ID, and then it should just render the template with the secret. So for now, I didn't make any of the HTML yet, so I'm just writing like a crazy. But let's start by making the confirm secret saved. So I like to do development in this way, where I kind of like push the tasks, so I make sure that the application fails when the next part that I'm not done with is missing. Anyway, you can see now I'm making this confirm secret. And I just took the text directly from the specification, and that's it. This secret URL will be passed in from the controller. So what you can see here is there is a lot of code identical to the other web page. So now I will refactor it into a template, so I don't need to repeat the same code again. So you can see now I can clean these guys up, and I will just tell them they should use this base HTML as base, and then they will just insert the content from them inside that. So yeah, this is called refactoring, and it means you clean up your code continuously while you are while you're working on it. So it's very good practice all the time. Think about how can you make it a little bit cleaner, how can you make it how can you clean it up, how can you make it communicate the intent. But don't do it before it's necessary. The cleaning up was not necessary before, but now I have to. But now you see here I'm missing the save secret URL in this, and that is the URL I want to have when I push the button. And I don't want to have this logic inside the HTML. That's not nice. So instead I pass it in as a parameter from the controller. And you can see right here, from the enter secret to the save, you can see them right here next to each other. It's beautiful. Okay, I will just clean up the. I will actually specify the title also. So again, I take the title from the documentation or from the software specification, and that's it. I actually forget to add the title in to the other pages, but anyway, restart the server. Let's test it. So now I have the title. And I will just check here the properties, and you can see the action of the form is save, which is what I call the confirmation page or the forwarding page. And when I press, it goes all the way to saved, which means it also got the redirect. And here is the URL that I can share with my friends. And not surprisingly, it doesn't work because I'm not finished yet. So now I will just make the view secret HTML. So I copy paste from one of the other web pages and enter the text as necessary. So again, we are still in developer, so that means full stack and backend developer with this. So again, I can take the text from the specification, and here is the secret. I just call it secret. I forgot what it was called, but the secret is called secret. It's a little bit difficult for the mind to remember the secret or to find the secret. But anyway, let's see if it works now. Whoa! So now we can input the secret and we can save the secret and we can read the secret. So actually it's finished. And if I try to read it again, it fails, which is perfect. And you can see it fails with an arrow. Because I didn't make the template, no such secret. So now we'll just make the HTML for no such secret. And I would say also if you're a junior developer, you can also look at this video and I think you will get some, I hope you can get some inspiration for how to organize your code. So at least I think it's a very nice way to organize it and to make sure that there is this flow that pushes you forward. So now I'm just making a little bit improvement. This is actually not part of the requirement that you can enter a new secret, but I'm in a good mood. I'm adding it. Just again only letting the controllers know about the path, and I forgot how to write HTML. Now I'm writing more what is it called, markdown. So but this doesn't work as HTML, so I'm just correcting this. And this could again be a front-end developer doing this. So if it was a front-end developer, this is where they would work, and they would definitely do something to make it look more pretty. Restarting the server and refreshing, and I have a button. It works. And let's see. I will try a new secret. I get a link for it. And it's here. My new secret. So now the application is more or less finished. So the next thing for this application would be to put it on the cloud. To make it, putting it on the cloud would be, I could actually take this code and put it directly on a virtual machine, install Docker, and it would be running. I would need to do some IT operations, I would think, but I will continue with the Devops approach, and that means I will automate it. So yeah, let's look at the automation if you're up for it. I know it's quite a lot, but if you want to see what it is, then I will show you right now. We'll continue now, and the next step we'll look at is how to set up the deployment, and we are going to look at how we configure automation. The first step here will be to make sure that we test the code, and then after we have tested it, we will deploy the code. I'm not going to set up a staging server. So if this was mission critical, if this was something important, you should set up a staging server so you don't risk ruining production. To begin with, we start by doing this by the manual deployment to the server, so we can test all the steps. Yeah, I'm gonna deploy to Digital Ocean, so I'm gonna spin up the server here. Then we are gonna create a certificate so we can access it. We will configure the firewall, and I don't know if you can see it in the console here, but I turned it on yesterday evening, just a random public IP, and it's already getting some strange requests. Always good to turn on the firewall. Yeah, I will install Docker and Docker Compose so we can start the application. Then we will push the application to the server using Rsync. Yeah, then I will create a Docker Compose file, because right now I need to specify a lot of commands when starting the application. So this can also be automated by using a Docker Compose file. Then I will change the server in the application, because as you also can see in some of the messages, it says that the server is not to use for production. So right now it's using a development server. And then the final step will be setting up automatic deployment. So I will set it up using GitHub, and hopefully I can both set up so we can test it using GitHub Actions, and then I will deploy it using GitHub Actions. The first thing is that I will go to Digital Ocean. Let's see. Cloud Digital Ocean, and then I will need to log in. Log on using my professional application. So I'm in my YouTube channel project. I will create Droplet, which is a fancy word for virtual machine, and then I will select the Ubuntu, I will select basic, I will select the very cheap one. I will actually try to go with 512. I would actually expect it to be okay, but let's see. If not, I will have to redo it. I will tell you. Key, USSH key, and let's see how is it. SSH keygen. What I also really like about DigitalOcean is they have super great guides for everything. I will not let this be my primary key, so I will make one called secrets. And then I will set up a password for it. I'm always using a password manager, and after creating this, I need to paste the content and using HHH dash. So there will be a file called whatever you call it, .pub, which will be your public key, and this content you just copy paste into this form field, and then you can call it. I will call mine Digital Ocean. SSH secret. I would only select the one I just generated. And backups. Usually you should always do that, but I will not do it for that. I will actually not. Multiple droplet tag and secret sharing. So this is just to remember what I will put inside this. Now press create. A little bit more than a few seconds, but quite a lot is going on here. It looks like it's about to be ready now. So let's see. I will click it here. Even without the key, I can just connect to it here from the cloud interface just by clicking here, and then I will be inside my new virtual machine. And I'm in. Finally, it's here. Maybe 1 minute. We'll just press top. You will see new fresh system. It's nice. It's fine. So, like I said, I prefer to connect from my or maybe I didn't say it, but I prefer to connect from the command line on my local machine, because I have the code on my local machine, and then I can just copy it directly there. What I'm gonna do is the same thing that I'm gonna do on GitHub. So let's see. So what I want to do now is to set up a script to copy to the server. Boom. That's just it, and then we should set it to executable. Let's show you that it works. Okay, cool. It'll work. Great. So what we want to do is we want to start the SSH agent, and this makes it easier for me to the following commands. Now if I run this deploy, yeah, and I need to enter my password, so let's see if I really want it. Now I can actually SSH into the machine, so just for fun I can say SSH, take the IP address, say root, add IP address, bang, oops. Okay, so when I'm running it in the bash script, it doesn't share the environment with the environment, which is I guess a security feature. But now you can see how you can actually log directly into the machine. But I'm not gonna do anything here. Goodbye again. And we can close this one. So now I should be able to say to use Rsync. Alright, it worked, the application is copied there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the key later, and then I will add it without the key in GitHub Actions as a secret. Yeah. On my own computer, I don't want to have it without the key. You should never store them without a password, because when you're gonna get hacked, it means that the hackers will have access to all your servers also. Anyway, let's see. Now I want to log on to the server, and so right now I'm not doing complete automation. Just like trying to say, okay, what is how would you do this manually? You just want to set it up, you just want to have it running. Here is my secret app. Anyway, now I want to build the image. If I didn't use Docker, I would need to install Python, I would need to install all these libraries, and they would be keeps it much cleaner. Let's try again. Downloading, fetching, installing all the dependencies. To me it's still fascinating, this stuff. Oh, running people's root. Okay, I should probably address these warnings, but I will not do it now. So let's see. Okay, there are several things to remember here. My Docker image right now just runs the test, so it doesn't run the application, but I will set it up to run the test, and then I will set up a Docker composer file that will actually run the application and set up the port, set up the disk storage. But right now I need to specify all this junk, but let's do it. Ran zero test. That's not very impressive. This is how it is when you are. It's often like this, especially if we are doing it with something a little bit new. Let's see. I'm saying home. I have to specify that to the path. Now it's not here. This folder. Just like this. Let's see. Okay, it's running. So at least we know that the unit is. So the application should be working if I remember how to start it. And how I did it before was I just shelled into it, and then I was starting it manually. Now my application is here, looking like normally. So how did I start it? I actually forgot to document how I started. So. We want to start shell, and then from inside we will run try again. Whoa. So now it's actually running on the server, completely manual. The next thing will be to tidy this up. So the next thing I've done was to change from the development server. I have updated the Docker file, so it also will install Gunicorn, I don't know how to say it. How do you say it? Gunicorn. Then I have updated the command, so we will run it. Using Gunicorn, and I have added this additional Python file. Now you can see now when I just built it, I already did run it, but I'll show you also. Now let's say Docker compose up, and now it's running. So now all we're missing is the automation. And yeah, I have done it. So let's see what I have done. So the first thing is I've set up the test, and let's see, it's here. So it works by to make the GitHub action. You need to make a file with these GitHub workflow folders, and you can see I've done one workflow to test it. And it basically just runs the commands that we know. So let's see when I push it. It's basically the exact same command as we use when we ran it from command line. You can see I also have added an argument to save the result in an XML file. And then finally I will upload it to an artifact. The next thing is then I set up another workflow here. And this you see the first workflow here is triggered on push, so that means when I commit the code, it runs the test. And here I then have a workflow which is triggered on the other workflow completing. Basically it just runs all the steps, so it does this, it installs the HH key, and it adds this is H secret. Yeah, like I said, I needed to do this. I had to remove the password from the key. To do that, I used the SSH keygen like this. So I specify -p-f and then the key. And then when I run it, it will request my old password. And then I will enter the new password where I will not enter anything. And now my private key is without a password. This I then copy paste into GitHub Actions secrets. I can just show you how it looks. So I have basically you say new secret and then you just paste the value. So you can see I've done it here for 1 hour ago. I will not do it again. One thing that's important when you do like this is to add the secret again. So I will just run the command. And now the private key needs a password again. So yeah, let's go back to the action here. So I use this Shimotaro SSH key action, which will install the key so I can use it from Rsync. Otherwise I cannot use it from the Rsync. It needs to be installed somehow. Then you can see I'm using the SSH command to run the commands. So I change to the folder and I stop the service using Docker Compose. Then I copy the code using Rsync. Then I use SSH command to send the Docker Compose build. And then I use SSH command to send Docker Compose up. And if we go to see the status here, so this deploy secret runs, you can see right now it's failing. Let's see why is it failing. So the stop service is failing because the host key verification failed. And this is because I commented this out, so I will comment it in again and commit. Now the action will trigger, so if we go to the base here, we can see test application will run because I have made a new commit. Follow it here. That's it. It's cool, right? And let's see. Now it should trigger the other action, which is the deploy secret sharing. So let's go and see what it's doing. Now it added the host. So now it's running Docker Composer down, stopping the service on the real live server. Now it's copying the code, building the image, and starting the service. And all of this is happening on the real live server. It's definitely not best practice to run this directly on a live server, but I'm just demonstrating the different steps. One more thing I did. Yeah, I also set up DNS, so now I can go to the website, or you can go to it by going to secrets.buildcomplete.net. This is actually running the application I just uploaded one second ago. So yeah, so the only thing missing now is to set up an SSL certificate. And to do that, I would install Nginx and use that as proxy. But I'm not going to show that. I think I've shown enough in this video. So if there is something more you would like to hear about, if there's something else you would like me to show, then let me know, and I don't know, maybe I'll do it, maybe not. So I hope you got some inspiration and got an idea of all the different tasks that are in when doing software development. I have shown project management, I have shown software design, user interface design, coding, and then the automation. So this was my much longer than expected video about all the events, all the roles, all the different tasks that are necessary to do software development. I hope this has helped you to get an overview and What I wanted to do here was to give a broad overview of all the tasks related to software development, to show you to make a real application, all the steps necessary. So I really hope that this can help you in understanding the different processes in software development. And thank you for the application. I am completely satisfied with it. It's very good. I can share my secrets now. Thank you.